Hi, this is DJ Sam, and you're locked in with Connect Life Stories. Welcome. DJ Sam is a suburban dad. He's also a nurse. He's also community organizer. Well, we were living in States. That's how I met my missus. And we met a friend of a friend, our housemate, who's their one of their childhood mates, was living here. He still does live here, and they came. They were on a holiday for like 3 months, and that's unheard of if you're living in America, because life there is quite. It's good and sweet and everything, but 3 months of holidaying is quite impossible. And they talked to us about. He told us about their life out here, being nurses and all that, the work-life balance, and it was nothing compared to what we had in States. So we started thinking about coming, and I had been an avid watcher of Crocodile Dundee and Steve Irwin, so I loved the Australia Open, Australia country, and all that. So it was not a hard sell. Currently, I'm working in mental health. I started off in aged care as an EN. I really loved it. Just talking to the oldies, seeing the other side of life. The young people just chasing money and all that. Sometimes not reflecting on the circle of life. You go to the other side and you see people who had a lot of money, and where they are at that point, and it helps you if you actually have a brain to think hard and start looking at what is important in life. So I worked in aged care for a long time. Moved here. Was still working in aged care until maybe 3 years ago. Yeah. It's actually quite interesting. I Music started in church. I was playing drums in church. Sunday school. I've been brought up in a very strict. I know. Yeah, DJ Sam and all that. But it seems, but I'm actually the real me. I'm actually quite religious. Um, And although I'm still in the journey of trying to understand this whole religion thing, I'm questioning a lot of things. Maybe you've seen some of my posts on Facebook. That's why you're laughing, which is fine. Yeah. But I was brought up in church. My dad was a church deacon. My mom is still a church deacon in the Full Gospel Churches of Kenya. And that's my background. So I was in Sunday school, choir. I was playing the guitar. I played the keyboard. I was a beast on the drums. I was really good on the drums. So I think that's where I learned the basics of music, bars and all that. Um, and then high school happened. I kind of sort of just drifted away. Yeah. And then so when I moved to States in 2004, my younger brother, I don't know what got into him. Was never into music. For me, I was sneaking out of church, Keshas. There's a church Kesha in Muranga town. In the middle of the Kesha, I would sneak away, go to some place called Parkside, dance around for like 2 hours, and then go back. It's insane. A 15-year-old could go to the club when I was growing up in the 90s. So that's started my journey with music. Started, I would easily say, started there. I was watching, following Sagana Vibrators, DJ CD, and all those guys. So was quite interested in music. Obviously, everybody who grew up in the 90s knows about writing little letters and song lyrics to girls and all that, and you have a whole big old book. So quite that's how my music started, my music journey. As far as DJing, I would go and watch DJs playing. I would rock up early. I learned how to like that. If you actually show up like 4 in the afternoon, you'll find the DJs practicing, and they didn't care if you walked in. As far as you showed them that you're not touching the turntables, you're not touching the vinyl records. Back then it was vinyl. You could just watch. Eventually they get used to this young kid who's always showing up around, and then they show you. DJs are usually friendly people. So that's how it started with me. I would watch these DJs playing. Um, Eventually they would start being like, yeah, put this back there in that envelope. And that was like the highlight of my life, just holding that vinyl and putting it, being trusted to put it in the in the envelope thingy. So yeah, my younger brother, His name is James. He's in States. Bought some turntables. Now, but he didn't want us playing. And then one of my best mates, one of my brothers, that I picked up on my journey of life. I call him a brother because he's like a brother to me, called Alex. He's still in States. I lives in DC. We started kind of sort of just DJing, practicing and all that. We were terrible, dude. There was no YouTube then that you can actually go now on YouTube and watch how to DJ. You're just going off your head, whatever you've been seeing. You're there, the first thing you're trying is like scratching, and it was terrible. Getting the music together, it's something we didn't know. You have to put together playlists and things like that. There was nowhere to refer to. And then I met this DJ Amos from Worcester. Really good DJ. Up to now he's one of the best DJs that I know. Although he doesn't do much as far as trying to perfect his craft, he could be like one of the best still. But he's really good at old school. So he saw us and we were trying, and he made his time. Came, we were like, yeah, we were trying to learn how to DJ. He was like, yeah, you're trying to learn how to DJ? That's really good. Awesome. He came to where we used to, practice. He showed me how to find the beat, how to count bars. To be honest, my DJing class lasted about 20 minutes. The rest, I literally kept doing what I was showing, and I kept going at it, practicing all the time. My missus then, we were boyfriend, girlfriend. She was very supportive. And then here we are. Now, there are DJs and there's promoters, and sometimes they're kind of sort of the same, but not the same. There are DJs who just want to DJ, they show up, they DJ, they go away. They are promoters. Promoters are more organizers because you have to have more organization skills than a DJ, to be honest. Because you're DJing and then you have to organize events, venues, how to get people in, security, things like that. We started an event. I and my two mates, we started something, we were calling it Payuka Entertainment. We were working in some place called Jazz Nicks in Maryland. In Delaware, you could only go until, I think, 2 or 3 in the morning. But in Maryland, you could go until 5 in the morning. And it's just close to each other. So we would go set up our equipment in Maryland and DJ there, and people would come. They used to call the place Bomber. Interestingly, as soon as I left, the whole thing just collapsed. I think I was the glue in it. I think the last event Payuka Entertainment did was when I was there. After that, we just kind of sort of everybody drifted their own ways. They're still DJing. But it was awesome. That was great. I'm in my 20s. I have all the energy. We are pulling in maybe 300 Kenyans usually. People, one of the biggest highlights is people coming and they're like, Sam ni aje nilipata umresh kwa event yako, now we're inviting you for a wedding, You're like, yeah, this is good. We're not just partying, people are meeting people, people are getting married. Quite a few people got married, who met in our events, So, in 2012, we started our journey. We came here. When I moved here, I moved with my DJing equipment. Some of these equipment is, I have it from States. Not that it's that good. It's not that good. It's outdated, but it has sentimental value to it. So it's still, it's with me. I'm probably gonna give it to my son or my daughter, whoever decides to try the craft. I'll be really happy to do that. Or my nephews, whoever, my nieces. Anyway, I moved here. I met a few guys. There's a guy called Alex. We met in a house party. He told me there's a guy doing events. There's a Kenyan who does events. Peter, Rasta Lionware. He had just moved from Tasmania. He was doing events then. I met him, introduced myself. I had my own equipment already. My DJing equipment had already arrived here. We did a few events together. We are same but different. I had to move on. I met DJ Kwenda. We did quite a few events. He has his idea, I have my idea. I was working for him. We didn't work together like as partners. and then I moved on. I started doing Nairobi Reloaded. Yeah, is that? Yeah, and then that's why I started Nairobi Reloaded. I got a couple guys. For me, this is a hobby, so I don't like to do it by myself. When you do it by yourself, it's too much work. The part of hosting events. So I got a couple guys who were already doing stuff. DJ Declark was just starting to DJ. We got him on board. We got Nuxie. He's been DJing forever here. We got Benyam. He had been hosting events for a long time. So everybody had their role to play, which is a question I ask a lot of people who always wanted to join this reloaded journey along the way. I'll ask you, what are you bringing to the table? What's different from what you have? If you can be able to sell yourself as there's something you're bringing in, then you're very welcome to join us. So me and DJ Declark, we are DJing and we are promoting. Nuxie is promoting. He's doing social media. He makes some of the best flyers out there. Benyam is looking for venues and hosting. He doesn't DJ, so he's the one who's dealing with stuff, bars, the club owners, whatever, all that. Everybody had their own role. And that we call it. We looked for a name. I was like, you know what? It's a Kenyan night. Everybody loves Nairobi. We can call it Mombasa or whatever, but every African knows Nairobi. It's Nairobi. And then we are bringing in Nairobi here, so let's reload it. Then Nairobi Reloaded. That's how the name came about. Some of the challenges are you get four blokes, four grown men who've met not too long ago on their journey. You get them together to do an event, and we had not known each other that long, to be honest, but we all had the same goal, and we decided, can we, join forces and, get into this journey. And then it just blew. We were just there at the right time. Where new opportunity is. What do they say about opportunity and being there at the right time? So we were there at just the right time. A lot of Kenyans joined us. I had been doing quite a bit of house parties and all that, so quite a few people knew me already. Benyam, Nuxie had been DJing for quite a while. He had done other nights, so people already knew him. Declark was coming, fire, young guy. Everybody was starting to know him, so it was quite just right. Then we started doing it. One of the hardest things we've had is venues. So we've had issues finding venues. First of all, as mellow as our nights have been, we've never had any issues. We've had maybe a few scuffles, a few arguments, but not like fights. It's always Kenyans anyways. And then so to combat that, because around that time it had gotten to a point where it was impossible. If you did a cultural night in Melbourne, it was impossible. Nobody would give you a venue. They'll be terrified because there was a lot of African fights. So calling it Nairobi Reloaded, we started doing. Actually, I was very strict on the music because I know the music determines who comes in. It was Kenyan music, just 70% or maybe 80% Kenyan music. And the Kenyan music scene had already matured to that level where you could hold a whole night with just Kenyan music. That's what I'm saying, like we started just at the right time. So most of the elements who would be fighting were not coming because it's a Kenyan night, it's just Kenyan music. And you would have segments where you're playing Mugithi, we are playing a lot of Ohangala, we are playing the Skamba songs, Kalenjin songs. We would be getting deep. So if you didn't fit in, you didn't fit in, kind of sort of. We were quite prejudiced towards the music. It's Nairobi Reloaded. Kenyan friends would come, but then eventually once we got a staple market, now we play everything. Kenyans listen to everything. When I started off, we would start playing soul, old school, 90s up to like midnight. And you would get all these wababas. They would come, they would call me, hey Sam, yeah, I'm bringing my wife out to the city on Saturday for a nice dinner. Please tell me for 10 o'clock you'll be there playing some music. I want to be there, listen to some old school until 11, and then take off before my kids show up at the club. And we did that, which was really beautiful because you'd get quite a bunch of like mature people, 30s, 40s, 50s, until like around midnight, and then the young people will come in, party until 5 in the morning. Yeah. The main purpose of this is an avenue for Kenyans to meet. Um, my journey as a student was not very hard, simply because I met a lot of people from my village. I come from Moranga. There's quite a few people from Moranga town who are there in States when I moved there. And one of the biggest issues I've seen people having is being able to assimilate into these systems, out there in our diaspora. So I started that so people would find a way to meet other Kenyans. Many times I've met students who've come by train and they tell you, hey, I'm living in student accommodation. I searched on Facebook and I found there's a Kenyan night, that's why I'm here. I'm like, I'll introduce them to a few people who I know who are able to, help out, and within a couple of months next time, or they disappear. They come 6 months later, they're like, yeah, I found Kenyans when I came here last time, but I've been working hard, thank you very much. I started living with Kenyans, it was cheaper for me, I assimilated into the system very quickly. So that's the main reason for people to meet, Kenyans to have a place where they can meet and hang out. It doesn't matter to me. To be honest, it doesn't matter. If we make money or not make money, it's a hobby. I have my own trade. I have a career as a nurse. This is a hobby, but luckily it's a hobby that kind of sort of sustains itself. When you do the night, we do make some money. Can't lie to you, but although it's not the main focus, we do. There's a bit of money. Let me put it that way. But then when you do, I've realized that when you do artists, two other few artists, you always end up in a hole. Yeah, that's where the money disappears. It's not even in equipment, it disappears when you do artists. I kind of sort of slowed down when I moved here. When I went and I joined other people. I did a few events in Sydney. I did a few events in Perth and Adelaide. Adelaide, I linked up with this guy called Asadi, and we started doing Adelaide Reloaded. And we've established ourselves there for the last maybe 5 years or more. And that changed the scene. It literally changed the music scene there. I can confidently say that we did change the music scene there. We brought in a different vibe, a different skill set, challenged the local guys. They didn't like us, most of them, but we were persistent. We've incorporated most of them. We work with them. We work with everybody who wants to work with us as far as you're humble, and yeah, so Adelaide and Melbourne, that's where we've been playing at. I cannot, in all honesty, fairness, claim that Reloaded is mine by myself, because I've always worked with other people anyways. It's always good to give credit to your partners. Yeah, although I sort of come out at like the face, there's other people involved in it. No. Now, hosting an event and owning a venue is two different things. There's the logistics behind owning a venue are very complex. It's literally, I know a few people who are running venues, and they will tell you it's a full-time job. If I'm just hosting a night, I'll show up, do my event for what, 5 hours or something like that, and leave. Take the money from the door or whatever arrangement we have, and then I leave. I'm done. There's licensing, there's dealing with the liquor board, there's dealing with if somebody got hurt there, staffing, RSA, alcohol board, whatever. It's too complex. Yeah. Go out as much as you can, have fun, dance, roll on the floor. These are saying that somebody once told me, an older guy told me, when you see a guy partying and drinking and rolling on the floor and being a bit obnoxious, let them be. Maybe that's the only thing that's left that's holding them onto this life, onto this life. Mental health is very important. It's always very good to distress. Find a way to distress. There are people who go and play golf, and they find that very therapeutic. There are people who will go and knit sweaters, and they find that therapeutic. There are people who want to go and dance together. We are very social beings. Um, Nobody wants to be isolated. In this daily, life of running to work, school, and all that, it's always good to settle down a little bit. Meet your friends. If you're going to drink, drink responsibly. You know, and enjoy life. We are here to enjoy life. We are not here to suffer. Support. My missus is very supportive. She's a very, very supportive wife. She supported me in the whole journey. Buying equipment when I literally had to get into a savings to buy equipment. I've done tours. There's a time I did a tour and we lost $15,000, and we had just arrived here. We had to go back to our savings, and I was like, I'm sorry. And she was like, well, it is what it is. So she supported my dream. Ladies, support your man's dream. And work-life balance. I try. I'm there. I'm very there. My family comes first. My kids, my missus. I'm always there. Like today, I had my son the whole morning. The girls went out shopping and all that. I think I had told you that. So we are just we communicate very well, me and my missus, as far as our roles and taking care of things. Yeah, so me and my missus, we are very supportive of each other. We communicate very well, and we are there. We have the same goal. So it's not very hard, to this work-life balance. I'm not DJing. DJing is like 5 hours on a Saturday night, or if it's a wedding, maybe on a Saturday afternoon, um, and then I come back home. If I'm not DJing, if I'm not out in the city DJing, I'm home working. Um, it feels like, to be honest, I've expressed my interest to retire quite a few times, and the boys have told me now. I was my plan. I think it was to retire when I turned 40, which is 3 years ago. Been talking about it, but I love it too much. I don't think I'm retiring anytime soon. Just said that it's also maybe to get validation. I don't know. Maybe I was just seeking validation. Was it retire? Please stay. But I was never going anywhere. And I did get that. It would have been disappointing if it was like, yeah, please retire. But anyways, so I'm still moving on. Thinking of moving more into things like events, tours. We've done quite a few tours. Unfortunately, when we do the tours, we don't get as much support from our fans or our people as when we do just the regular nights. And with the tours, it's a bigger. You have to pay for visas, flights, and all that. Now in the next 2 months, June, yeah, end of June or July, we're bringing in Major, which is a big artist, literally one of the biggest that we brought so far. We've done other people. I've hosted literally almost every good artist at some point in my journey. When I was in States, I hosted quite a few of the Kenyan artists. When I moved here, I already knew some of them, so it was easy to communicate with them. My business is quite good as far as the DJing business is, so I'm able to get them a visa and bring them and tour them here. But then it's always about the other cities. The other cities, the DJs are quite slack. They don't have as much following. They are not doing as many events, so people are not into that culture of treating their mental health with going out. Yeah, so my journey so far now is just to keep on grinding, doing maybe more private events now. Um, Nairobi Reloaded is once a month. That's easy to do. I can do that into my 90s, if it's still around, But hopefully we're gonna get in some new upcoming DJs to come and join us, so they can take on more on the role of like doing the nights and DJing the nights, and maybe we can take the background of just maybe organizing. That's what I'm hoping. In the future, I'm looking into doing more outdoor events. Peter has already started doing things like that. I'll probably maybe partner with him in the future to do something more like what he's doing, but also that has a bit of me in it. Yeah. Um, it's more of like when you see somebody who's doing something, support it as much as you can. To be honest, I wouldn't fault Melbourne at all. Melbourne has been together with us as much as possible in Adelaide. We've done like really good events. We are staple here in Melbourne and Adelaide, and Kenyans do come out in big numbers and bring their friends. You wanna come to, they call it Nairobi night. Most people from other countries call it Nairobi night. Kenyans call it Reloaded. It's quite interesting. Hey, I'm coming to Reloaded. I'm coming to Nairobi night. Another thing is, I've found quite a few people who are very passionate. They're like, this is my night. This is my night. And I'm like, yes, it's your night. It's our night. It's awesome. So I'd maybe urge, if you're out there, you're coming, DJ, get with us or do your own thing at your own time yourself. As far as you're bringing Kenyans together. It's a very good way to help Kenyans to deal with their mental health, get closer to people they are used to as far as their culture, food, and things like that. Mental health is very important. For me, my main thing is just people to get together, share, talk things out, to avoid all this isolation that can be very, devastating out here. My mental health, music is my escape. To be honest, if I come, I had a really bad day or my life is not going very well, I think even my missus can tell because I really bury myself in music. I think when things are going very well, I kind of sort of don't even show up in the studio for a while. Like now, I haven't shown up in quite a bit. But if things are not going well for me, my escape is music. I'll come here, get into this equipment, I'll DJ for like 5, 10 hours. I've done even like 7 hours just by myself here. When I'm reflecting on life and things like that. It's my escape. Music, I would say music is. And now as a dad, my kids are also my escape. There are two of them, and just being around them, it makes me feel like the world is, when I'm vulnerable, that's where I go, but then the world feels much better. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the events too. Doing the events, like during lockdown, we just came out of a lockdown where we were very isolated. I realized that going back, the first night went back, I was very anxious. I didn't know how anxiety feels until I went there, and I didn't want to be around people. It felt like there's too many people. I felt how my clients, when I'm working in mental health, tell me they're feeling anxious, they have social anxiety. Being out there, meeting people, saying hello to people, seeing other Kenyans laughing, enjoying life, dancing, and all that. It also has an effect on me too, that I feel like the world is good. Yeah. Passions and dreams don't have to make money. Um, they shouldn't be the focus of all your money that you're making. Don't be like the Subaru boys. Just I'm one of them. I have a Subaru. I can say that. But follow your passions, follow your dreams. If you're able to monetize that, even better. Then it can be able to sustain itself. But when you have a dream, when you have a passion, when you have a hobby, um, it's not necessarily, not everybody is lucky to be able to monetize it, but others are able to just share it with the world. That's your gift to the world. Everybody has a gift to the world. That is your gift to the world. My gift to the world is music, organizing. I'm not the best DJ, to be honest, but I'm good at organizing. I get along with people, and that's my gift to the world. I feel that I've impacted the world in a way that I could, and I'm happy. I'm satisfied. Talanta zako usiulizwe what did you do with them and not have an answer that I did the best I could with my talent and my passion. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, support local talent, support Connect, support Rasta Lionware, support Nairobi Reloaded. Anything you see another Kenyan doing here in the diaspora, or more so an African, please support it. Sometimes we are too expensive, to be honest. I'll agree with you. I've had people come to me, they want me to DJ for their weddings, and we can't agree on each other because of the money. I've tried to go to other Africans to get, or even other Kenyans to hire them, and I couldn't hire them. No hard feelings, to be honest. No hard feelings. It's all good. But let's support each other as much as we can. The upcoming DJs. There's a few upcoming talents in Kenya, from Kenya out here right now in Melbourne. Follow your passions. Do your thing. If you need help from us, we are reachable. We're easily reachable. What's the worst that could happen? Somebody saying no. Don't make an assumption that somebody is gonna say no. Just come and shoot your shot, pretty much. And better have tried and failed than not have tried at all. And if you're not failing, you're not even trying. So that's it.